Let me begin with a simple but important observation. Many serious UPSC aspirants complete geography preparation but still lost marks in the prelims examination. Why? Not because they do not study the subject. Then why? But because they do not recognize the structure of geography questions. Some years, geography looks factual. Some years, it looks conceptual. And sometimes it appears mixed with environment or even science. So, students often feel that geography is unpredictable. But if you step back and analyze UPSC papers from 2013 to 2025, something very interesting becomes visible. What? That is, UPSC geography is not random. It follows patterns of systems and recurring question structures. It follows pattern of system and recurring question structure. And once you understand those patterns, the subject becomes much more controllable, much more controllable. So in today's session, we will do three things. First, we will analyze how geography questions evolved from 2013 to 2025. Second one, we will identify the repeating structures UPSC uses to design geography questions. And third, that is final one, an important one. We will discuss high probability geography themes for prelims 2026. In this session, we are going to do these three subjects or topics or points we have to discuss. So, because in the prelims examination, success does not come from reading more books. I'm again and again repeating this. Success does not come from reading more books. It comes from understanding how UPSC designs questions. So, we are going to discuss about geography evolution in UPSC CSE prelims from 2013 to 2025. The questions how evolved, the way we are going to discuss elaborately in this session. If we divide the last decade into phases, the pattern becomes very clear. That is phase 1, that is called foundation geography from 2013 to 2015. During this phase, UPSC focused more on physical geography foundations. Typical areas included like monsoon mechanism, continental drift, mountain systems, ocean currents, and soil erosion. These are the areas. These are the areas which were focused mainly in 2013 to 2015 papers. Students with strong NCERT physical geography, they performed well. But even in this phase, UPSC rarely asked definitions. Instead, it asked about processes. In that phase also, UPSC did not ask about definitions. They asked about processes. Let's say for example, why monsoon winds reverse seasonally, or how mountain systems influence climate. These types of questions were asked in the phase 1 foundation phase, that is from 2013 to 2015. So even early on, geography questions required conceptual understanding rather than memorization. This is the point we have to remember always and understand always, because UPSC asked definitions, not they are asked all the time concepts. Conceptual understanding is most important. Then we are moving to phase 2, that is spatial geography. Spatial geography from 2016 to 2018 papers appeared from spatial geography. In this phase, UPSC started testing location intelligence, that is mapping, like things. For example, it included tributaries of major rivers, basin relationships, basin relationships like river basins, and species habitat relations, resource location questions. This phase required two important skills, that is atlas familiarity, because mapping, atlas familiarity, and spatial elimination. These type of skills you you have to use in those times from 2016 to 2018. That is spatial geography phase. Then students who only memorized facts but ignored map practice began to struggle more, because the questions are based on atlas or mapping. So struggle, only memorization compulsory, you have to face struggles. So geography became less about reading chapters and more about understanding spatial relations between 2016 and 2018. So this is the phase 2, and we are moving to phase 3, that is integrated geography. This is the main phase. This is from 2019 to 2025. This is the most important phase for today's aspirants. That geography questions increasingly merged with environment, technology, and applied sciences. This is called as interdisciplinary approach or interlinking approach. So, what are the examples? It include peatland carbon sequestration and wetland ecosystem services, ocean warming, renewable energy geography, strategic mineral distribution. So these type of topics typically asked from 2019 to 2025. So geography is no longer asking only where is the coal belted located, where is the coal located. It may ask something like how does coal usage influence climate policy or energy transition. This is called applied geography. This is called implications of geography. So this is what we can call applied geography. And this integrated approach is likely to continue in the coming years. So these types of questions, even further that, asked in coming years. Then what are the structures? What are the structures of geography questions asked in UPSC? If we analyze the last decade carefully, UPSC geography questions repeatedly follow certain structures. What are the structures? There are 7 structures. Let us go through the most important ones. Structure number 1, mapping and spatial elimination. Mapping and spatial elimination. UPSC frequently asks about mapping, thoroughly asked about mapping, asks about seas, straits, mountains, rivers, and islands. But modern questions often test relative location. What is the relative location? For example, a question might be asked like this: which of the following cities lies closest to the longitude of Delhi? This is called of relative type of questions. Which of the following cities lies closest to the longitude of Delhi? So spatial elimination is not just knowing the map. Spatial elimination is not just knowing the map. It is understanding the spatial grid of Earth. So spatial elimination is not just knowing the map. It is understanding the spatial grid of the Earth. Let's go deeper. For example, one PYQ style questions we have to discuss in this concept, in this context. Which of the following rivers flows into Bay of Bengal? Students who practice atlas elimination usually solve such questions much faster. Which of the following rivers flows into the Bay of Bengal? The practice of atlas is useful here to eliminate the false options. In this way, this is the structure 1, that is mapping. Then moving to structure 2, that is climate mechanism. In UPSC, frequently tests the mechanism behind the climate systems. This is important structure we have seen in UPSC geography questions. Let me give you a simple example. That is, why does it rain heavily in Mumbai but remain relatively dry in Pune? Even though the two cities are only around 150 kilometers apart, the answer lies in the rain shadow effect that is created by Western Ghats. This is most and frequent important topic, that is rain shadow effect. You have to remember and you have to understand this concept, that is rain shadow effect. UPSC often tests these mechanisms through multi-statement conceptual questions. So understanding processes becomes critical. When the moist winds coming from seas in their way, orographic, like any hills, mountain ranges are there, the winds are lose their capacity and rainfall will automatically happen in that place. Due to this, after the place that is behind the mountain ranges, rain will not fall in that place. This is called rain shadow area. This is called rain shadow effect. So understanding processes becomes critical. Then we are moving to structure number 3, that is river basin architecture. UPSC rarely asks about rivers individually. UPSC rarely asks about rivers individually. Instead, it tests drainage systems. For example, UPSC often asks about tributaries of Brahmaputra, tributaries of Indus, east flowing versus west flowing rivers. Students who understand basin logic perform much more better. in these type of questions. So you have to focus on the drainage systems itself, not only particular river system. You have to focus on total drainage system of the particular river, not only single river. That is much more better logic performance in the examination. So structure number 4, that is vegetation and climate relation. Another common pattern links vegetation with climatic conditions. Examples are included like mangrove ecosystem, grasslands, tundra regions. The underlying chain is very simple. That is climate. It leads to vegetation and it leads to species. This is the continuous chain. This is underlying chain between this. Many questions that appear under environment actually originate from geography concepts only. This point you have to remember carefully. And structure number 5, that is ocean and atmosphere interaction. What is the ocean and atmosphere interaction? This structure involves interactions between oceans and atmospheric systems like winds, ocean currents, etc. Typical concepts are included here is ocean currents. ENSO. ENSO means El Nino Southern Oscillation, upwelling, marine productivity. These questions test the relationship between hydrosphere and atmosphere. In the ENSO, El Nina, La Nina, etc. Then we are moving to structure number 6, that is earth processes. In UPSC, sometimes test concepts, test conceptual geomorphology. Conceptual geomorphology. Those examples are included like plate tectonics, mountain formation, glacial erosion, weathering. It means landform making process, and resource geography, that is physical processes. These questions require understanding earth processes rather than memorized facts. Then we are moving to structure number 7, that is resource geography. Finally, UPSC sometimes asks about distribution of resources such as mineral belts, petroleum basins, agricultural zones. These are recent phenomena, that is mostly important concepts as far as UPSC GS paper 1 geography itself, because huge type of questions are asking every year again and again. This is resource geography. So increasingly these are linked with economic and strategic geography. Economic geography as well as strategic geography. And we are moving to the priority pyramid, that is geography priority pyramid. If we analyze frequency of questions from 2013 to 2025, we can identify priority zones. What are the priority zones? What are they? Tier number 1, that is core zones. Those are climate, rivers, and mapping. These generate a large share of geography questions. These questions are again and again asking every year, one or the other: climate, rivers, mapping, etc. Then tier 2, that is conceptual zones. Conceptual zones, it comes under the topics of oceanography and geomorphology. These often differentiate well prepared students. This is the differentiation between well prepared students or average prepared students. And tier 3, that is tactical zones. Those are soils, agriculture, minerals. Lower frequency of questions appeared but still useful for cutoff safety. So you have to put maximum effort of revision, maximum amount of revision hours at the top of the pyramid. Like tier 1, you have to give your most valuable and extra time, and it decreasesly you have to give your valuable time for revision of these topics. So after this, we have to discuss about foundational correction. What is foundational correction? Many students believe the problem is not reading enough NCERT. But the real problem is how they read NCERTs. Most students read geography NCERT like a history book. They read it line by line as information. But geography NCERT should be read like source code for earth systems. You have to study like this only. You have to read from 6th to 12th, and each chapter represents a process or interaction within the earth systems. So once students understand the logic, the geography questions become much more easier. So you have to keep in the mind that is, do not read geography NCERT like history books. So we are moving to the triple threat themes for 2026 probability. This is one of the important session for geography. When UPSC combines geography, environment, and economy, the probability of a theme appearing increases because they are not asking like this belongs to geography, that belongs to environment, this belongs to economy. They are asking, they are not asking like this. They are asking interdisciplinary and interdependent questions. They are asked in recent years. They are linking with geography, they are linking with environment, and they are linking with economy, like economic geography, like environment geography, etc. These are what we can call triple threat themes. Triple threat themes. Let us look at some examples. Critical minerals. Let's we take critical minerals. What are the examples that included? Lithium, rare earth elements, etc. These involve geological formation, resource geography, strategic global competition. These type of questions are asking last 3 years again and again. It comes under whether geography or economy or environment. But questions are asking. Such questions combine physical geography with geopolitical economy. So you have to identify and give your more time for these themes. And next one, energy transition geography. What is energy transition geography? Important emerging themes like hydrogen economy, renewable energy corridors, solar and wind potential zones. These themes are most important, and these questions are asking again and again from 2020 to 2025 itself. One or the other: hydrogen economy, renewable energy, etc., solar, wind potential, all the types of renewable energy questions are this year, that year, asking again and again. So these connect resource geography, climate policy, and economic transitions. We have to think like this way. And wetlands and pitlands. What are the wetlands and pitlands? These involves hydrological systems, ecosystem geography, carbon sequestration. These types of questions they're asking recently. These questions are increasing in nature. UPSC increasingly tests climate ecosystem interactions. And what is the anomalous weather patterns? This is most important for 2026 UPSC CSE Prelims as far as GS is concerned. Paper 1 for geography or economy or environment. Another emerging area is unusual or shifting weather behavior. This is most important consequence is facing India recent times. Examples include increasing heat waves in non-traditional months. For example, in Delhi, in North India, changes in monsoon onset and withdrawal, frequent western disturbances, extreme rainfall events, unexpected events. These phenomena involve the interaction of atmospheric circulation, ocean temperature anomalies, climate variability, interaction of atmospheric circulation, ocean temperature anomalies, climate variability. So UPSC may test concepts related to jet streams, western disturbances, ENSO influence on Indian climate, El Nino, La Nino, southern oscillation, etc. Monsoon viability and monsoon variability. Students should therefore understand the mechanisms behind climatic variability, not just the normal climate pattern. You have to think like this way only, because UPSC is dynamic. They are changing again and again. They are changing ways and increasing the patterns. So you have to identify the pattern itself, what UPSC is thinking. So how to preparation is going on. Students should prepare geography through system interactions. How? For example, climate, it leads to vegetation, leads to species. River, basin, that is agriculture. Ocean, atmosphere, weather. These types of system interactions you have to identify and prepare like this way only. If students understand these chains, geography questions become far more manageable. And this is exactly why serious UPSC preparation is not about collecting more information. Understand these chains. This is important. Not only collecting more information. It is about recognizing the logic behind the paper is important. So let me leave you with one final thought. That is, most aspirants prepare geography as a collection of topics, not That is not correct. But serious aspirants prepare geography as a system of interactions. System of interactions. And remember this clearly, in CSAT, in CSAT, UPSC repeats mathematical families. In geography, UPSC repeats system interactions. And in the prelims examination, success doesn't come from covering more topics. It comes from recognizing patterns and controlling how you approach the paper. That is most important for UPSC CSE Prelims 2026 geography is concerned. For that matter, total paper is concerned. Thank you.